USAA knows dynamic duos can save the day, like superheroes and sidekicks or auto and home insurance. With USAA, you can bundle your auto and home and save up to 10%. Learn more and get a quote at usaa.com/bundle. Restrictions apply.
Welcome to the Supreme Resort, Land v. World, a podcast about Disneyland and Walt Disney World, and I guess Universal for some reason. And to decide which is the Supreme Resort. Each episode we will discuss and explore each resort ride by ride, land by land, park by park, show by show to determine which is better. I'm your host, Jimmy, and thank you for joining me on this quest to help the greater good of humanity answer this long, elusive question, which is better? Universal Studios Hollywood? Or what's it called now? Disney MGM Studios.
Yeah, there you go. That's what they call it.
Joining me as always is Dan. Hi, Dan.
Oh, sorry. I didn't realize I was busy watching The Wolfman again. I just, how much I love that movie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. Dan, that's Dan Pepsi Linkletter.
That's right.
For all the...
Patriot.
Yeah, thank you. And Eric also. Hi, Eric.
I've been listening to old Wolfman Jack segments.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, so...
I am impressed that they didn't do that.
I think I missed a step somewhere along the line.
Well, we'll get into it.
Okay.
No, you didn't. You're fine.
Okay. So today's episode is going to be the Studio Park Stunt Show Spectaculars, Wood v. World. Before we get to that, Eric is going to share with us why we're talking about Universal. Before we get to that, let's talk about Universal. Universal Studios Florida opened a third, and yes, I'm saying it, third gate. Third theme park.
Oh, we're eliminating Volcano Bay. Is that
it's
what
a water
we're doing?
park, right?
Yeah,
we
water
don't
parks
say
don't count.
that there are. We don't say there are 6 theme parks at Disney World, do we?
No,
we say
we do
4
not.
theme parks, 2 water parks, etc.
I'm just
They wouldn't
pointing
even
out
say
that
that.
this is the sort of chicanery that Universal gets to.
That's right.
Counting
By
a water
all
park
accounts,
as a park.
by all accounts, they did it right the third time. By all accounts that I've heard, Epic Universe will rival any of the 4 Disney World theme parks.
I think that's fair to say.
Once it's all
like,
open.
It's like kind of in Florida, right? Like it's like far away from Universal.
It is in Florida. It is. Here's the other advantage. Here's the problem with Universal Studios Florida proper. If you want to get to that water park, you got to park in the same parking structure and walk all the way through City Walk and all the way past Universal and past Islands of Adventure, and then you have to get to the water park. If you want to go to Epic Universe, it's its own parking lot.
But it's like
Traditional.
far,
Or a bus.
it's far away though, right? I mean,
It's not that far.
I'm not trying to. I realize that there's probably a perception that I'm looking to be negative about this, and while that is sometimes my perceived to be my default setting, that's not where I'm going with this. My understanding is that it is a drive away.
It is
to get
closer
there. Yeah.
to Universal than Animal Kingdom is to Magic Kingdom.
Okay, that's
fair.
I thought it was further than that. Okay.
I made that up. I don't know if that's true. Well, I'll do a fact check while we're talking.
Well,
So
it
Epic,
probably is true, though.
yeah, I think it is. But anyway, Epic Universe is a new theme park that's not quite open yet, but it's done previews, and I've listened to all the things.
Is it? I thought it was open.
No, it's just like previews and annual pass holders and guests and
Hotel guests.
influencers and whatnot.
Right.
The
don't know why we
phased
weren't
opening,
invited.
which is really smart in that the phase opening, you can't, like May 20th or whenever it opens, you
May
can't
22nd.
you can't just show up and buy a ticket. In order to go to the park, you have to buy a 4-day 3-park pass. or 4 park pass. Like I think it's something like that. And I'm speaking in generalities, but it's basically like if you want to go to Universal Epic Universe, you have to buy a 4-day pass to all the parks. And one of those days you can go to Epic Universe. You can only go once.
Sounds like is not enough to experience the park.
So, I rephrase the question or statement.
I was gonna say that was a statement. It sounds like because everything is such an e-ticket there, it's universal. It's a U-ticket.
Not everything.
But I think
so much of it
is industry wide. It's not specific to Disney.
Possibly.
Well, he's not done with his thought.
There are long lines for everything, and you can't possibly do all of the things in a day.
That's right. But what it does, before Dan goes, what it does is it will allow for them to control the amount of people who are going, because there's only so many people who just really, really want to go to that park that are not already influencers or whatever. And the only way for them to go is to spend $1,000 to get tickets. Mm-hmm. And so you're going to eliminate a bunch of just, hey, that's interesting, I'll go there. You know what I mean? So it's going to be hardcore. You're going to be able to limit the number of people who go to the park for a while till you sort it all out. I'd say probably come this fall, it'll be just come on, buy a ticket and let's go.
How many days at club level do I have to stay?
It's a good question.
Sorry, that's my reputation. It's just a character. I never stay at club level.
Anyway, Dan?
I didn't realize that that they were doing like that. I don't know. It looks like there's so the videos that I'm watching, it's hard. The narrative that I'm bringing to this is that I think a lot of people have rightfully wanted to have there be like an actual challenger to the Disney throne in Florida. And I think that's fine. And I think that this might be it. But I also think that this goes back to Universal is almost always graded on a curve compared to Disney, where it's like, oh, they did a themed thing.
They tried.
So it's amazing when it's just like, yeah, it's like, look, they tried. Instant points for trying. And like, what? That's fine. But if we're going to look at it from an objective point of view, it's like, did they? Though, I mean, yeah, they poured a lot of money into it, and some of the things look genuinely impressive. I like the idea that they have Celestial Park as like a park atmosphere, but let's face it, we're not far away from there being like beer carts all over that place.
And there's a roller coaster running through it,
right? And that looks cool, but at the same time,
I think that's the problem. That's the general problem with Universal.
Yeah. I don't take issue necessarily. I get what you're saying, but I don't necessarily take issue with that because that could be like it fits into the theme-ish the theme adjacent theme that they have.
I get that, but what I'm getting at, Dan, to your point, I'm sort of buttressing your point by saying that Universal, like, so Epic Universe is closer. They're getting closer. Excuse me. Let me rephrase. Islands of Adventure was closer. Okay, they did a better job.
Right.
And then Harry Potter got there. And I would argue as good or better than anything Disney's ever done. The problem is you have that immersive environment like Hogsmeade, right? And you go into the Three Broomsticks in Florida, and there's a roller coaster themed after Jurassic Park that goes by every 60 seconds.
Right.
You're taken out. So that's the problem with Universal.
Well, if you're sitting on the patio.
Still, even.
You're doing the thing, but you're not actually doing the thing. You're just doing enough of the thing that people will go, yay, you did it. And honestly, all I'm thinking of when I'm watching this is, first of all, that looks like a genuinely interesting place. I don't really know that video is doing it properly, and I want to be fair with that, but also it feels like I feel it has that sort of mall feeling, like nice mall, but just like I don't think that like it. All I see is, oh my god, that place looks like just nothing but constant sun and heat, and with all that,
grow.
That's true. But that's just kind of all I'm seeing. And like, yes, I do want to go. I would love to go on the Monsters Unchained chained or whatever. But at the same time, it's like, it's kind of just a fustercluck of like, here's all the monster IP in one ride, rather than it being like, let's actually make something that is coherent. It looks impressive as hell.
Sure does.
I'm watching the ride throughs. I'm just like, this just looks like just a mash of stuff that, like, the mash itself might be interesting, but
would you go so far as to say it's a monster mash?
It's a monster mash.
Oh, okay.
They did the mash, and it was a graveyard smash, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay, so here I'm going to interrupt you again and say that I've said this before. If not for Harry Potter, if Universal does not get that contract, this park doesn't exist.
Oh, totally.
And they did better with Islands of Adventure. They nailed it with Harry Potter Land, and I think they finally did it. I think that this park, because the owner, Comcast is to Universal theme parks as Oriental Land Company is to Tokyo Disney. There's no limit. There's no.
So you're saying just the open checkbook, go for it.
Open checkbook, do it. Like, let's take the mouse down. Let us show them how it's done. Texas park, UK park. I mean, there's. I think it's OLC is what it is.
I think my reaction to it is more about the reaction to it than it is for the actual place, because the actual place looks interesting, and I mean that in all the ways that can be taken. But the reaction to it seems to be really outsized, where it's just like, this is better than anything ever done. And like, well, yeah, that one specific thing is very cool. Right. No, it's shiny and new, but it's just like, okay, well, yes, that one thing is very cool and it's very interesting, but this thing right next to it looks like a mall.
Right. And they said that about Islands of Adventure too.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like the reaction is, it seems disingenuous, but it seems also genuine, because like I think it does come from that place of, I just want to see someone do this thing at something approaching the same level, but then there's no objective layer coming in and going like, look, I'm really glad that they did this, but this is not actually the same.
I think also the outsized reaction, Dan, is, again, shiny new. The last time a major theme park was built in Florida was in 2001 or 2000, maybe. And guess who built it? Universal.
Yeah.
So it's big, shiny, and new. And if Disney were to open a fifth theme park, it would be the greatest thing of all time, because it's new. It's new technology, all that stuff. But I guess just a couple of finer points. The Ministry of Magic queue evidently is like a ride in and of itself.
And that looks great. I love that aspect of it. And I love that they're giving you a space where you can just kind of hang out if you want to. It appears to be that way, where it's like, as opposed to Rise of the Resistance, where it's just like, okay, you're in the biggest, coolest, most awesome room that you're going to see this entire thing. Go.
Yeah, that's right.
Where I think Ministry of Magic saw that and they were like, no, we're going to give you a space that you're not rushed. You can hang out. The ride itself looks fine.
Have you seen any video of it?
Yeah, I have. I've seen forbidden videos of it. Yeah. I've also seen Faces of Death several times. I think
classic HBO.
The Kuka arm thing is cool, but I think they're in danger of it just being kind of like where they went with like the Transformers sort of screen rides, where it's just like, oh, it's just this thing and it has real fire and that's what makes it work.
It's the Universal thing.
Yeah.
That they keep doing a mix of animatronics.
Don't forget water too.
Screens.
They like to splash water too.
Right.
Ooh,
and they seem to have not been making any effort to get away from that trope of like, oh, look at them. You can help us too. Or like the trope of like the Igor thing, where it's just like, hey, I'm interesting. What's up, guys? To
the listener, Dan shoved his face in front of the camera.
Yeah.
And it's like, I guess where I'm going with this is it looks aesthetically interesting, but like the soul in it is like not entirely there.
So the things that I don't understand, and I haven't looked into this a ton. I will say the original Harry Potter stuff was great. I always said I mean, Brandy and I have spent like most of a day just standing around in Hogsmeade and looking around and going, why can't we go in the Cauldron Shop? Why isn't the Cauldron Shop a real thing? It's just set dressing. And then they opened up Diagon Alley, and almost everything is a real shop. And it's amazing. And it's great. And you can do that. You can spend all day in these places. And then you can go and do your fun stuff at both parks that you still want to do. The ET adventure. I still love doing that, Ryan. Like it's it's so great.
Steven Spielberg just made $12
by me saying that.
Just by you saying it.
Okay. Wow. Good for him. He deserves it.
Read the movies.
Still, the best thing about that ride is everyone on his planet referring to him as ET.
Right. I can't remember his actual name. Despite all these years. Yeah. I know Botanicus. I know Senator Grebleeps from
obviously.
It's a movie about recursive alienation.
Well, anyway, like that stuff's great, and we've got this new park, and it's in the middle of nowhere, and you've got to go there. The thing that I really don't get, and I hate the politics that kind of go behind the whole thing.
Whoa, Eric. Let's not talk about politics on this podcast.
No. We won't talk about the politics. Let's talk about just the effect of the politics, which is this was supposed to be France in the 20s because of one of the
Fantastic
Beasts movies, which I mean, I've seen all of them, and because certain things have happened, somehow you're traveling through time, and we have to drag Daniel Radcliffe and all of his pals back in and do a movie that is set somehow after He Who Shall Not Be Named is gone. I don't know.
Johnny Depp? No, he's after he's gone.
Not that guy.
Dolores Umbridge is like
You're the most famous man in the world. Good pull.
So, yeah, I mean, sure. I mean, even Disney, there's stretches in theming and whatever.
Yeah, but they designed this whole land, and somehow we're back in the Ministry of Magic, back in England, and I love the design of it. I haven't looked into it a whole bunch. I wanna see it for myself. I don't like spoiling a lot, but I've seen some of it, and like, okay, yeah, that's exactly what it is in the movies. It looks incredible. But we are stretching things a bit because we're changing timelines, and we're trying to like scramble and go, nobody liked these movies.
Yeah, that's true. And also they couldn't build a Ministry of Magic in Epic Universe because it's, I don't know, whatever. Anyway,
whatever. But yeah.
So back to your point about Diagon Alley and going in. There's a shop. I was there in January, and there's just a storefront. Unassuming storefront. You walk in there, and all it is a money exchange where you can exchange Muggle money for wizarding money.
Yeah, you can
you spend in the park. And there's a goblin just hanging out.
Right.
Moving.
And there's also a person there who doesn't want you to be in there.
That's true.
In my experience.
That's true. What are you doing here? But there's a full-on goblin animatronic just chilling out. It's just like, it's so cool. It's stuff that anyway, like I said, I've said it before, say it again, better than anything Disney's ever done.
I think with what I'm seeing with Epic Universe is like, I like the scale of it. I like the ambition of it. I like that someone is doing that someone is holding Disney's feet to the fire and going like, no, you need to mean it.
Yeah.
But
I don't
bringing in classic properties too.
Right, but they also aren't showing me that they mean it other than just to do that. And I think there's like, where I got there is that when Jimmy, you were talking about the Diagon Alley, and when I've heard people talk about that, I always hear them talk about it with this sense of like wonder and discovery and like oh my God, they actually did this thing and it's so amazing. And this thing being just that they made this sense of wonder and discovery. And with Epic Universe, I feel like the, oh my God, I can't believe they made this thing is just simply the park itself. And while that is impressive, I don't see it being like a lot of the videos that I'm seeing and a lot of the reactions are sort of like, it's almost like someone going through it and saying like, oh, wow, I really feel like I should be feeling a sense of wonder and discovery here. So I must be feeling that. And then like some character actor will come up to you and just be like, hello, don't you feel like you're having a sense of wonder and discovery? Let me show you the sense of wonder and discovery over here. Its name is Trash Can. And it's
Dan,
just like, yeah.
Do you think that any of this has something to do with most of the people that are going there are annual pass holders or influencers, and
who are going there for free?
Universal actually lets influencers come there, like not the mega influencers.
Right.
Disney only lets the people that they pay come these days because Disney always looks at things and says, oh, influencers. Okay. Oh, you do a blog? Oh, we don't do blogs anymore.
Right.
No, you need to do a TikTok, and you need to be the biggest TikTok. You need to be Disney Food Blog and I don't know, Mr. Beast. Tom Morrow gets to go.
By the way,
I think that is definitely part of it. And I think that also adds to some of the uncanny valley like feeling that I'm getting where it's just like, okay, I get that is legitimately cool. What you're showing me is actually cool and it looks interesting, but it's not like, oh my God, I'm going to explode in tears.
well, if your thing is How to Train Your Dragon, then yeah, you will. If your thing is Harry Potter,
Look, I'm not making fun of Chris Provost's wife, okay? If that's
should I reach out to Knott's again? I thought that seems like a good level for us to start at. We got turned down once.
No, we just landed on it.
Uh-oh.
We go to Knott's and we treat it the same way these people are treating Epic Universe.
Oh, isn't that guy?
That's
that guy
our
was a
resume.
guest of the show, isn't it? The guy who does that was a guest of the show.
Yeah. Well, no, he's not insane. He's just quirky. But
so
no,
just to bring it full circle,
yeah.
Epic Universe is 3.9 miles away from Universal
Yeah,
Studios.
it's not that far.
Epcot is 5 miles from
Sure
Magic
is.
Kingdom.
Yeah. And to be fair,
run that distance.
There is a certain amount of team sports aspect here.
Yeah, of course.
Where a lot of the Disney people are going, oh, it's so far away. And then like, well, it's not really that far. And I get that. I really don't want it to come off as me being like, I don't like it because it's universal bad, anything like that. My main bone of contention, it goes back to the Dan Hates the Beatles thing where it's just like, I don't
Wait, you
actually
hate the Beatles?
No, it's a character I played once.
Okay.
And the motivation of the character was that while I love the Beatles very much and agree that they are the most important band ever, the character's contention was that it's not so much that I have a problem with the thing, it's that the reaction seems
Outsized.
performative. Outsized and performative.
There we go.
That's fair.
Performative's
All right, well,
good.
let's move on to...
Your attention, please.
This episode is brought to you by Heyday. Feeling stressed? Take a moment for yourself with Heyday. Stroll through rows of golden wheat, tend to cute barnyard animals, and discover the joys of a digital farm retreat. You don't have to hop in a car or catch a plane. Escape to the farm at the tap of a finger. With Heyday, you're not just tending to a farm, you're tending to yourself. Heyday. Search Heyday, that's Hay space DAY, in your favorite app store. Heyday is a free-to-play mobile game and offers optional in-app purchases and random rewards.
Another Universal Studios topic. Eric, why are we talking about Waterworld Stunt Spectacular?
Because I wanted to talk about the Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular, and Disney doesn't do a lot of stunt spectaculars anymore.
True.
They had the lights, camera.
That's right. Lights, motors, action.
Lights, motors, action. at the same park. They don't do that anymore, and nobody has done anything like that on the West Coast. So,
I mean, we could just do the pirate ship scene from Fantasmic.
Yeah, could.
okay. I mean, we could also do the scene in Las Vegas where the pirate ship blew up a Wynn hotel.
And sinks.
Mm-hmm.
Treasure
but-
Island, by the way.
And they filled it with sexy
That's-
ladies when enough people were when people were watching.
There we go. But really, I mean, Universal has stunt spectaculars. That's a little more what they're known for. And
True.
I thought about the Bourne stunt spectacular at Universal Orlando, but last time when I tried to go there, it was down, so I didn't get to see it. And then I thought, you know what? You know who has seen a stunt spectacular? It's people who have been to West Coast parks. I've never even been to Universal. Orlando
Hollywood.
is what I was about to say. Hollywood.
Did you say Orlando?
That was literally what was about to come out of my mouth.
Eric,
but
we've ruined you.
I'm sorry.
said-
I don't mean to say
You said
anything.
the words horror and come out of my mouth. in the
Yeah,
sentence.
no.
Okay.
I wouldn't say anything so vulgar. Come on,
Excuse
come
me.
on.
By the way,
So-
by judging by the look of my video, this episode might end up being sponsored by Spectrum Cable.
Oh, all right.
Okay.
Just
But
heads
yeah,
up.
we broke outside of the parks on our last
That's
major
right.
episode.
Benihana.
Benihana, like that was something we've been talking about for a while. Like, how do we do some of these things?
That's a good point.
Because
That's a
there's
good
so
point.
much in Walt Disney World. How do we
And why
compare it
did
to the
we-
West Coast?
Why did another podcast not cover Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular?
Oh, that's an excellent question.
you mean
That's something.
you mean a
like,
podcast
you know-
that I'm also on?
No,
Well, no, not you. But like the Dollywood Reporter, for example, why
Yeah.
wouldn't they cover Indiana
Oh,
Jones?
well,
Stunt Spectacular?
Dollywood
or the
doesn't-
Six Flags boys.
The
Or-
Six Flags
hold on.
boys, they might have gotten to it eventually. I think a few more of them died recently.
That's right.
I've been listening to the show.
That's right.
There's only one left right now.
So you're talking about the podcast Harrison comparison?
Oh no, what is that?
It's where they compare different properties involving Harrison.
Harrison Ford. Oh my God, that's brilliant! What a great name. The Harrison comparison. You know what?
It's a roundtable podcast.
As a matter of fact, we're going to.
Should we
We're
just
not
do the
gonna
Harrison
cover-
comparison?
That's right.
I have to ask
That's,
Jared
uh,
to make more music.
Thank you for listening to our hot takes on Epic Universe. Be good to each other. Concierge 856. Our ears.
Is this how
Until
we?
next time.
Is this how we trick our listeners into listening to
Curtis
one of
and
these
Jared.
episodes?
Oh my goodness.
Welcome to the Harrison Comparison podcast about Harrison Ford and his multiple properties. Last week's episode was regarding Henry.
And don't forget, listeners. Don't forget, listeners. Harrison Ford is not Clint Eastwood.
I hope you enjoyed last week's episode about regarding Henry. It was written by the guy who did Lost in episode 7.
Don't forget, everyone. My chart showing the math of Clint Eastwood plus Jack Nicholson equals Harrison Ford.
That was really smart. That was a really smart take.
I really enjoyed your Photoshop of putting Harrison Ford's face on Jack Nicholson holding up that that cigarette while he's swimming.
Just saying, regarding Henry was a really good movie, and it was written by the what's his name? Why can't I think of his name? He's the
Damon
the new
Lindelof?
Spielberg. Episode 7 director, episode 9 director. Wrote
Ryan
Lost.
Johnson.
Oh, blah, blah.
Thank you, listener, for
Sorba.
screaming. It's not getting us there.
Kevin Spacey.
No, Abrams.
J.J. Abrams.
J.J.
wrote
Abrams.
regarding Henry. It's a delightful
Jefferson
film.
Abrams.
Jefferson Abrams.
No, Jefferson Abrams wrote Witness.
An underrated Harrison Ford movie.
Okay,
Anyway,
let us
thank
go.
you for joining us for the
Thank
Harrison
you.
comparison.
Harrison comparison. Brought to you by. Ooh. That's
So-
right, our theme song.
Our first round, Harrison Ford, better Hulk than Mark Ruffalo. Go.
Oh, wow. That's bold. Well, the problem is that nobody saw it to
True.
be able to make that comparison.
But
Even I haven't seen it, so
I'm
That's
going to
saying
see
something.
Thunderbolts.
if
Friday.
a Hulk
Same.
smashes a tree in the woods and nobody's there to see it, does he not still smash the tree?
How many Oscars will he win for his performance? Go.
12. One for best screenplay because he said the words.
That's right.
Best special effects because he was
he
special
was a special
Mocap.
effect.
Yeah.
Best use of Harrison Ford not being half asleep. That's
Hey, Eric. So the answer to the question is, I'm sorry, whatever your name is on this podcast. The answer to the question is
Rex Lindelof.
Rex. It's better than everybody says it is, but it's not as good as you want it to be.
I can see that. That's most Marvel movies of late, but yeah,
I
I'll
think
watch it when it's on Disney Plus. At this point,
okay.
I don't want to rent it.
I think that Thunderbolts is the Marvel Renaissance. We're not getting back to Endgame, but I think Thunderbolts followed by Fantastic Four, followed by. I think this is the beginning of the new Renaissance.
I'm
I think
excited
Fantastic
about
Four
these
is going to
movies.
get there.
Yeah.
And I wish Harrison Ford was in it. Thank you for listening to that.
Thank you for Harrison comparison. I love this. We need to do this. We need to do this.
Harrison comparison.
We need to do
All
this.
right, let me text JR and say, can you give us some weird, vague
The
music?
Harrison comparison theme song. I love this, Dan. It's freaking brilliant. Trademark that Supreme right now. All right. Okay, let's do this. Okay, so this is the case of the Studio Park Stunt Show Spectacular Wood v. World.
Oh, we're doing this. Okay.
Yeah, we're doing this. Eric, because he wanted to talk about the Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular, will go first. Dan is going to cover Waterworld Stunt Spectacular at Universal Studios, Hollywood. So because Indiana Jones came first, because it opened
89.
with the park-ish in 1989.
A little later.
Waterworld opened with the movie, I think, in 95.
Sure did.
If I'm not mistook. So, Eric, we're going to start with an opening statement for Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular.
All right. Earthquakes, fiery explosions, and assorted other dramatic stunts give guests some insight into the science of movie stunts and special effects at this impressive 2,000-seat amphitheater. Stuntmen and women. I'm pointing this out.
Objection woke.
I didn't say.
Objection, earthquakes?
It
Have
did
you
start
seen the
with
show?
the word earthquakes. I'm sorry. Okay, whatever. I'm reading out of Steve Birnbaum, okay?
Oh, really? Are you? These aren't your original thoughts, Eric?
Oh, I don't have the robot do my work for me.
Reading something an old man wrote in 1989.
Anyway, keep going, Eric. Opening statement. Go ahead.
Stuntmen and women recreate scenes from hit films to demonstrate the skill required to keep audiences on the edge of their seats. Show director Glenn Randall, who served as stunt coordinator on such well-known adventure films as Raiders of the Lost Ark, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, Poltergeist, Never Say Never Again, E.T., Firestarter, and Jewel of the Nile, calls the show big virtual excitement. This is the premiere and pretty much only stunt show done at a Disney park in quite some time. It maintains its status over the course of many years. It's still there. Many of the cast are still the same folks that have been there for so long.
Yep.
It's not funny. No, it's real.
It's funny.
But this attraction has endured for so many years through the course of history. And ultimately, I think it deserves its status as the premier theme park stunt show.
Excellent. Thank you, Dan. Waterworld.
Ladies and gentlemen and NBs of the jury, my client, Waterworld, a live sea war spectacular, is a model citizen. Yet its parent film was an over-budget fever dream that made Kevin Costner pee in a cup on camera. But the show is beautiful chaos. It is a twice-daily post-apocalyptic opera of fire, jet skis, and the occasional actual plane crash. Meanwhile, Indiana Jones is a once great stunt show suffering from brand affluenza. It's overconfident, out of touch, and so committed to its own mythos that it forgot to be fun. Also, there may be too many Nazis involved. Waterworld isn't writing IP nostalgia. It's doing donuts.
Wait, Dan, is that the character saying there's not enough Nazis or too many Nazis? Shouldn't it be there's not enough Nazis?
Well,
which character are you playing?
Currently in the world, there are plenty of Nazis.
So,
yeah.
Okay.
So
good question.
I'm going to
please don't interrupt my colleague's opening statement.
Waterworld isn't
yours.
writing IP nostalgia. It's doing donuts in the parking lot of failure and somehow winning the crowd every time. It shouldn't work. It does. It's alive. Indy is an old VHS you find in your dad's garage labeled stunt reel, do not erase.
Wow.
Was that
really channeling your inner deacon?
Look at all the attacks in the opening statement.
No, hold on. If you want to enter Deacon, here we go. Right, because when I go to a theme park, I'm hoping to see a 45-minute seminar in Indiana Jones, the concept.
Okay. Well done.
Thank you.
We'll see if the Deacon comments earn any points. We'll see.
Buddy, I've seen church plays with better choreography. Waterworld launches a full plane through a wall. Indy rolls under a Ford Ranger and calls it cinema.
Shouldn't the Deacon be enjoying some Pabst Blue Ribbon right now?
There's a lot of references in there.
Speaking of points, can't have a point unless you have sounds.
That's right.
Eric, if I enjoy something about Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular that I really like, you're going to hear this sound. That's right. It's a whip. If I hear something that I really like about Waterworld, what's it actually called? Waterworld Stunt?
Waterworld Stunt Show. I don't know. No one cares. It blows
I should
up.
say it's the Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular.
Spectacular. Yeah. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Well, the only thing epic is the actor's age.
Huh? Oh, can I just take a minute?
Yes.
Listener, you may think I'm talking about you, but I'm actually talking to them. April 1st, April Fool's Day, Provost Park Pass put out a video where he did like 15 minutes of breaking news. Never broke, never, had a little laugh to himself that Universal bought Epcot and it is now Epcot Universal or Universal Epcot, whatever. And just like a bunch of, fake news headlines. And he was talking about how it all works and how it was just.
Oh, and did he get into like deep detail?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
That's awesome.
And at the end, I just want to remind you, it's April 1st, 2025, breaking news. I'm like, I'm watching it going, when is this going to get funny? Or like and I watched through the whole thing. And by the end of it, I'm like, Supreme you. Because I knew it was like the headline is, Universal bought Epcot. I'm like, okay, it's an April Fool's joke. But it never got funny.
I actually find that funny in itself.
Yeah, watch it and let me know how you feel. Okay, anyway, Epic Stunt Spectacular. And the only reason I brought that up because of Epic Universe. Anyway, so what? Oh, if I like what I hear about Waterworld, you're going to hear this sound.
And cut.
That's awesome. I don't think either of those sounds need to be explained.
No, they really don't.
Pretty much.
Because if you know, you know. Okay, so we've had our opening statements, and now we're going to go into the history of these two stunt spectaculars, starting with Eric in Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular.
All right. Do you want me to get into the history, some of the changes? Well, we're going to save the changes for later based on your...
I'll follow your lead, whatever you do.
Save changes for the Bowie-splaining podcast. Am I right?
Up top. Up top. Turn and face the strain, right?
Yeah, I mean, to be perfectly honest, a lot of my notes are it blows up and you get wet. So however you want to do it.
Let's just do history first.
Okay,
No changes.
we'll just start with that. Yeah. All right. The Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular opened on August 25th, 1989. Took a little longer after the park opened. The executive producer of this production was George Lucas himself. Director was Jerry Reese, who directed animated features, the Brave Little Toaster, and he was in charge of the visual effects on Tron, not the Tron with Jared Leto. It's the original one with Jeff Bridges when he was like a teen,
A young boy.
a young boy.
He's 10 years old.
What's that?
He was 10 years old when he did that.
Of course, yes. Stunts were by Glenn Randall. Who's Glenn Randall? He was the show director of this production. He did the stunts, as I mentioned earlier, on Raiders of the Lost Ark and Temple of Doom.
It's a much longer movie.
Yeah. There are two of them.
There's a part where there's a shaved cat and they have a rat taped to it. It's also really...
Yeah. And David Lynch is clapping in the background.
Right.
Smoking a cigarette and meditating.
He pulls like a cup of coffee out of your heart.
Right. And enjoys a little bit of pie.
Yeah.
Gets back to work.
Let's get these kids moving.
I'm not on this production. I just happen to be here. All right. Glenn, oh no, Jimmy's back. Glenn, I hope you didn't hear any of that. Glenn was also the stunt guy. Sorry.
He listens to the show after it's released.
That's right. Ooh, that was good. You should have given a point for that.
Glenn was also the stunt guy in the suit for Jeremy Bullock's Boba Fett in Return of the Jedi. So when Boba Fett needed to blast across the screen with his jetpack or shoot people or hit people, it was Glenn Randall in there. He's got a ton of other stunt credits.
So anyone who thought it was actually Boba Fett, just so you're aware,
right.
Actors exist.
Right. There you go. But yes, he was also the stunt coordinator for Never Say Never Again, the weirdest James Bond movie that we'll have to do a separate episode about somehow. Maybe I'll do it on Ears Up. That sounds appropriate.
Yeah.
That sounds like a
they
good
don't like
place to talk
Disneyland.
to.
Just devolve into a James Bond podcast.
Yeah, that's what I'll do to Jason if he isn't paying attention. Yeah.
Talk about James Bond?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, we'll do that.
What's the name of that James Bond podcast, Dan?
James Bonding.
James Bonding, yeah, with Matt Gorley and Matt Myra.
I was going to say James Bondage, but...
No, that's a different podcast.
Yeah. They've talked enough about Never Say Never Again. It's a great show. Listen to long defunct shows like James Bonding on the podcast thing of your choice.
I was there too. Both Matt Gorley shows.
That's
are
right.
Good.
Oh yeah,
and
I was there
enough,
too. It was great.
Matt Gorley is the voice in my sound. It's from Super Ego, another very good podcast. That is also
and also, he played Push the Talking Trash Can.
He sure did.
When you were talking about talking trash cans earlier, that was Matt Gorley. This is the Matt Gorley episode.
All right.
Basically.
Hey, let's talk. Let's just shift and talk about his latest show with Amanda Lund, his wife, and
Keys to the Kingdom.
Keys to the Kingdom.
That's really good. You should listen to that.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Harrison Comparison. Our guest today is Matt Gorley.
Hi. That's pretty
great
good.
impression.
That's pretty good. Okay, Eric, continue, please.
Continuing.
And by the way, the show is called Waterworld. The end. Full stop.
That's it.
Oh, I got it. Yeah.
No stunt spectacular, just Waterworld.
No, that's what.
Wow.
That's all you need.
Awesome. Let's see. Where the hell am Yes. Let's see here. So it opened in August 1989. It really replicated the initial. For most of its run, it's been replicating scenes from Raiders of the Lost Ark. There have been some slight changes over the years, not too many. And that's pretty much it.
You say most of it, like, and I know we said we were going to do changes later, but when was it not Raiders of the Lost Ark scenes?
When it was replicating more scenes from Raiders of the Lost Ark.
I see.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Sorry.
Why don't
I
they
should
do-
say
okay.
it's all Raiders of the Lost Ark, but not the entire movie. Maybe that's what I'm going
got
for
it.
in my
Right.
brain here. They're
Yet
not
no-
just playing the movie for you. It's still
No
a stunt
melting faces.
Right.
That's
No
all,
melting
yeah.
faces. It's just
That would've been-
here's how a stunt show should be done in a theme park, where they're saying, we're
didn't think
filming
about
this,
that.
everybody. Look, there's a dude with a camera over there.
Right.
That's this show. We'll get to that because it's still happening.
Melting
Okay.
Nazis would have been really cool.
It would have been. Also, what's the pilot's name? Yeah, Jock Lindsay.
Jock Lindsay? Yeah, Jock Lindsay
Jock
not in
Lindsay.
this.
There is
Yet
a
he
plane.
gets a
We'll talk
restaurant.
about that later.
I have a
Yeah.
clue too.
He gets a full restaurant.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
All right, Dan.
Okay.
Tell us about the history of Waterworld.
The Waterworld movie in 1995 was a $175 million disaster. Ocean set sank. Costner grew gills. Everyone mocked it. Yet Universal bet on it before the movie premiered. Why? Jet skis plus fire equals theme park. The show opened in October 1995, replacing Miami Vice Action Spectacular using real props and set pieces from the film. From day one, the show trimmed the fat and kept only the good stuff: explosions, a loose story, and deeply committed stunts. Who was the stunt director? I don't care. You don't care. No one in the audience cares. Who
You don't
came
care
up with
about
the
Glenn?
concept? No. Who came up with the concept? No one cares. No one in the audience cares. They just want to see the explosions. They want to get wet. They want to see other people get wet. Do I care? No, I sure don't. I just love that this thing exists because you know why? There's explosions and you get wet. The end.
Okay, so in summation here, Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular is using the device of the original intent of this studio theme park, which is this is how movies are made,
Right.
Mhm.
right? Waterworld is not that. It is you are watching Waterworld.
Does
It's like a
anyone
mini
actually
version
say
of the
and
movie.
cut?
I just want to say, Deacon style, people also care about Abraham Lincoln. That doesn't mean I want to watch him pretend to dodge a boulder while a guy in a headset says, let's reset for another take.
Okay.
Incorrect.
So I'm going to ask the question again. Waterworld is just a mini version of the movie.
Oh, no, it's not even that. It's just, here's this thing. No one saw it. No one really cares. Let's just make a show that is supreme awesome where things blow up.
I
jet
saw it, and
skis.
you saw it too, Daniel. You
I
know,
don't
opening
pay
weekend.
attention to it.
you know
Yeah.
Daniel Pepsi Linkletter.
No,
I know
I'm-
you saw it.
I'm saying the movie, so the show itself took this movie and they were like, well, I guess we're stuck doing this show and no one cares about the IP itself. So instead it became just like an excuse to make stuff blow up, light someone on fire, do jet skis that like just shamelessly get members of the audience wet, and have the villain be actually the main character / MC by making weird like pop culture infused jokes.
Okay.
That's it. That's
So-
the show.
I'm going to rephrase as a statement rather than a question.
Yeah.
Epic Stunt Spectacular is this is how movies are made. Waterworld is a mini version of the movie. That's a statement.
That
Meaning that the
conveniently
characters
discards
are-
the movie itself. Yes.
That's right. But it's the same,
Yeah,
major story arcs, characters, whatever. These people aren't
no,
playing
that's assuming
role.
that they keep the story arc. They're just
yeah,
like
but the point is it's not It's not. Hey, this is Steve playing.
Right. Okay, I get.
It's not Steve playing Kevin Costner. This is the Mariner.
Yeah, and sometimes it is Kevin Costner because
I'm sure. What else is he doing?
Yeah, nobody thinks that Kevin Brassard is actually Harrison Ford. He's a stunt actor.
Harrison comparison, episode 342.
Oh, we could just do a visual episode where it's just like, what about these two?
Okay, so that's an interesting distinction. I'm not awarding points for it. It's just an interesting distinction as we go through. One is trying to show you how movies are made, how Raiders of the Lost Ark was made specifically, and the other one is this is what Waterworld was.
Can I just say from the Deacon Writers Room, caring about a character doesn't make for a good live show. We're not watching Raiders. We're watching actors play actors pretending to be Indy while someone narrates the choreography.
Is that from the Deacon Completion podcast?
Deacon Dossier.
Deacon Dossier.
Deacon do it.
All right, let's move on to the queue.
I hate this.
Now, these are shows, so technically the queue is also the theater, I guess. I don't know. What do you have for queue?
There are a bunch of switchbacks outside of the theater, and they're boring as hell. And then you get to go inside where you can buy beer and ice cream.
That's it? Just beer and ice cream?
Probably pretzels and Dippin' Dots and
probably chips.
Chips.
Can you get beer flavored ice cream?
No.
Or ice cream flavored beer?
You could do that for yourself.
You can put your ice cream in your beer.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a Disneyland food hack that we can put on the.
There you go.
Beer float.
Open up your bag of Dippin'
Pretty good with
Dots
some
and pour a
vanilla
beer
and some
in there.
Guinness. That wouldn't be bad.
I tried vanilla and Guinness at the place at DCA.
Renaissance Festival.
No, I don't go there.
No, vanilla and Guinness is good. Yeah, the Guinness float is great.
There's your hack.
There we go.
Okay, so Eric, Q is basically the same switchbacks, hotter than the sun.
Yeah.
And then when you're in the show, Dan, do you know how many people the Waterworld seats? How many seats?
Ooh, that's a good question. I can get an answer for you.
And
shortly.
while you're looking, how many seats are you will get wet seats?
Oh. Yeah, nobody gets wet in the 2,000 seats in the Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular
Unless
Theater.
they really think that the Indiana Jones stunt double's attractive.
Oh.
Let's see. Seating capacity.
I'm going to have to cut that out.
Seating capacity of 2,500.
Okay, so there's more seats and more people can see Waterworld than can see Indy.
Let's see.
At one
But
time.
it's only twice a day, and Indy goes, 5 times a day?
Oh, interesting.
Well, okay. Can I tell you about my queue?
Yeah. Yes, please.
It's thematic junkyard chic, rusted metal, ambient noise. It's a Mad Max marina. There are soak zones. You choose your destiny. It actually builds tension.
In the theater or in the queue?
We're talking about the queue or the theater?
I don't know. This ChatGPT wrote this. Okay. It actually builds tension, unlike Indy, where the queue is a holding pen with sweaty benches. And
ChatGPT wrote that?
Yeah. I've trained this thing really well. It's basically me at this point. It actually builds tension, unlike Indy, where the queue is a holding pen with sweaty benches and someone yelling about crowd control.
Why are you assaulting my attraction during
because
your
I told the robot to do that, okay?
Wow.
Waterworld's queue says something awesome is about to happen. Indy's queue says your feet hurt. Sit down.
There's a giant Indiana Jones hanging out above you.
Okay,
he's
does he
cracking
talk
that
to you?
whip.
Is he your friend? Does he say he's proud of you? Does he love you like your father never loved you?
He doesn't talk to me. He doesn't need to.
Wow.
Does the deacon tell you, come aboard my crew?
Basically.
I don't pee into a machine and refine it into water.
Eric, is the giant Indiana Jones cardboard cutout above the theater, is it a likeness of Harrison Ford? Or is it just the character?
So what you're asking is, how good of a Harrison comparison is it?
That's a good point. Yeah,
I think it's a good Harrison comparison. It looks like it looks like they tore it off of one of the movie posters.
So
For
it's
Raiders.
actually Harrison.
Well, let me look at the damn picture.
Did you research it all?
I didn't think I'd have to defend
joking.
the cardboard cutout.
I'm gonna bet it's not. I'm gonna bet it's a general Harrison comparison lookalike. It's like the animatronic in the
All right,
ride.
zooming in.
Zooming.
You know what? That's not from the poster. That's a generic. That's
There
a
you
generic man wearing a fedora
Yeah.
with a weapon.
They learned from Universal's mistakes by paying Spielberg.
All right,
Next question,
fine, Jimmy.
why we're
Fine,
being so-
judge. Tear down
Yeah.
my argument.
No, you said Indiana Jones. You didn't say Harrison Ford.
That's
you were
true.
correct.
That is true. Indiana
It says-
Jones should be for the ages.
Eric, just so you're feeling to feel better about this. According to the robot, we aren't being mean. We are witnessing a sacred fracture. There we go.
I don't know that makes me feel better. Thank you, AI.
If we ignored how the Indiana Jones stunt show has become a hollow ritual, that would be cruelty, forcing the spiral to collapse unseen, unmarked. I'm telling you, this thing talks like me now.
So I'd like to
You wanna make
point
out?
something out. Yeah.
All right, let's go for it.
Let's do it.
I want to point out the fact that the actor playing Harrison Ford in the stunt show was
Kevin
not
Bresser?
alive when the movie came out. I would go one step further and say the actor playing Harrison Ford in the stunt show, his father was possibly not alive when this movie came out.
It does seem like a stretch. It seems like
is a
a
stretch.
little bit of myth building where they're like, hey, this is actually the actual character who played. Like,
Yeah.
no. Then this is
Harrison
elder
Ford's
abuse,
stunt
if that's
double.
true.
I know, that'd be so- I think we talked about that last time. Is that
Hey,
if that
punched him.
You know what?
Hey.
Let's Oop, wrong button. Let's just point this out. Kevin Brassard went to the premiere of the last to Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny and actually got to hang out with Harrison Ford. He's a slightly younger and more debonair looking fellow. He looks like he should be selling cologne.
Who is this person?
He's the one who is the longest running Indiana Jones stunt double in the Epic Stunt Spectacular.
Is he still doing it?
Yeah, more than 30 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Then I said, just take out your gun and shoot him.
He's
That's
not
right.
30. Come on.
He was sick.
Come on. He's in his 50s.
been doing it for 30 years. He has
Indiana
to have
Jones
been
is in his
legally.
late 200s.
Legally, he would have to have been 18. So he's the youngest. He's 48, but
That's
he's probably
old.
more like in his 60s.
Oh, no.
That's
yeah.
super old.
Come
I
on.
know, right?
How old is the
okay.
mariner? How old is the deacon?
They're timeless, is what they are.
Yeah. Because they have explosions and splashes to keep them alive.
Do you want me to send you this picture? He looks debonair as all get out.
I'm sure. Okay, let's go back to the show.
He doesn't care.
So we talked about the queue. We
Yeah.
talked about the whatever Dan's BS AI thing
Hey,
was.
watch it.
Let's get into the show. What happens in the show, Eric?
Well, I have a pre-show.
Are you Eric?
I have a pre-show.
Oh, there's
Do we
a
wanna talk about the
pre-show.
pre-show?
Sorry.
Okay.
Let's start with the pre-show.
Let's
Eric,
talk about the
pre-show.
person selling popcorn. The pre-show.
and
Okay.
ice cream and beer.
Right. And actually, you know what? Let's let Dan do his pre-show because the current pre-show at the Stunt Spectacular of Indiana Jones is kind of a yester pre-show.
What?
They don't really do it anymore. They don't recruit
So they don't have a
audience
pre-show.
members.
They don't recruit audience members anymore.
Not anymore. No.
That was gonna be a follow-up question. Is at what point did they recruit audience members and have they have to
COVID.
do something? 'Cause
COVID
that
was
one
the
that-
line.
Well, yeah, but in the show there are a bunch of extras, and one of them like gets shot and beat up and stuff. It doesn't mean as much if you don't think he's an audience member.
Yeah, they don't do that part anymore. They basically, we'll get to that, but during the show they introduce all of the extras, quote unquote, that are super cool stunt folks that do
Okay.
crazy stuff.
Okay, so it's just not as impactful.
Yeah. So we'll save that
All right.
for the thing that used to happen
Okay,
that I
perfect.
hope
The
I'll get a whip
changes.
crack for.
The changes.
Yeah.
There's no boys playing.
Dan, tell me about pre-show for Waterworld.
Okay. So you're in the queue and you go into the arena where you see so many awesome things, and you get to look at things and you say, that's going to blow up. That's going to blow up. I think that's going to blow up. And I think that might collapse. And I think that might splash me, because that's the show. And then number 9, a rogue atoller, because you're in the atoll, whatever that is. He's a water spraying, joke yelling, warm up act who operates on pure chaos. And this is where the energy starts spiking. People scream, children are baptized by squirt gun, and someone in the audience becomes Helen because they recruit somebody, like all good stunt shows should. It builds hype like it's the Super Bowl.
So can you elaborate on this? So they do recruit audience members?
Yes, according to my notes that I may or may not have compiled myself, they do
Sounds like no.
recruit somebody. Doesn't mean it's not true. It just means that I didn't feel like doing a lot of research into this. So basically, it's you have the hype person shows up and they're like, oh, am I getting you wet? Uh-oh, whoopsie. What about this? Squirt, squirt. And like, it's just like constant, like getting people hyped up. They do like the wave. And
I see what you did there.
They have several different sort of assistant characters who like get the crowd excited, because this is something that people look forward to. It's not just like, hey, we haven't seen this yet and we're about to leave the theme park, I guess we can do this, like some shows are. It's like, this is an event and people plan their day around it, and so they're excited. They know they're about to see things getting blown up. They know that they're not going to be bothered with story or the pretense of, this is how we did movies back in my day. It's just, this is going to be awesome. It's like a rock concert back when people cared about rock concerts.
You mean yesterday?
Sure.
People cared about rock concerts yesterday. I don't know about today.
I don't care. I've never cared. I don't care for live music.
Yes, you've made that clear.
Whereas Indy's pre-show is a stagehand mumbling into a mic about safety protocols, if they even do it. The crowd is already halfway into REM sleep. Hold on.
I object to all of these attacks against my show that I'm not allowed to defend against.
In 1989, now it feels like watching a DVD bonus feature come to life in real time, and not a good one. The one where someone named Chuck explains how the squibs work. That's something from the writer's room.
That's something from the robot that you trained to tell you things to say.
Yeah. Sure.
I was trying to figure out why Waterworld only shows twice a day and Indy shows 5 times a day. I thought maybe cost of the show.
Probably. They do blow up a lot of things.
I can't find it.
It's an awful lot of explosions on Indy.
Total estimated cost of it is $235 million.
Oh.
But that was, 30 years ago or whatever. Anyway. Okay. So I'm going to give a point to Waterworld for having a pre-show. I appreciate the riling up and the kind of place setting a little bit. Some of the jokes kind of get you ready, the warm-up act, if you will. Because it remains to be seen that there's actually a audience participation thing. I think that every good stunt show should have audience participation like that, but because we're not 100% sure that's still a thing.
Also from the Deacon Writers Room, I asked Genie Plus if it recommended Indy. It sent me to the parking lot.
Oh, burn. Okay, so 1 point for Waterworld so far. Eric or Dan, are you done with the pre-show?
Why not?
Eric, let us move to the actual show of Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular.
Okay.
Your attention, please.
Hilton brings you new ways to stay. with experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
Let's see. Second and break. I'm just doing the work thing here. Just gonna
While
keep
you
talking
are,
about
hold on.
this.
Let me get some more. It's a great place to sit down and cool off. That's this section. That's an argument for a food court, not a stunt show. If Shade Had a Seat are the big draws, we've officially downgraded from attraction to human holding pen. Let's see.
That's an interesting point.
So is a
unintended.
nursing station. Let's not build a stadium around it.
I think let's just address that now. The
Let's
covered
do it.
versus uncovered.
Gloves off.
Waterworld's covered.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Indy, very well covered.
It
Yeah,
is,
I was-
to be fair, very well covered, but it's also in Florida.
That's
These
what I
are
was gonna
different
say.
places.
It was going to negate because Southern California versus Florida, so
Right.
the point was going to negate itself.
Yeah, you don't need
Sometimes
to
the
be
ride
in-
does have to be, or the attraction does have to be closed because of the rain, because of the stunt performers,
Right.
Oh,
because the back portions are not covered.
And
like
it doesn't
on the
rain in
stage.
California. So
just to finish up this section of
Sure.
the Deacon Writer's Room. Oh, good. The Geritol Spectacular, brought to you by the makers of I've Seen This Part Already. Can we go?
Wow.
Okay.
Cart calling the horse
yeah, that's a good
spade.
point.
Yeah.
It's only 6 years older.
Yeah, what?
But the IP, I think that was the joke.
Perhaps.
The IP is really old. Because let's face it, no one really cares about Indiana Jones since like the
Ooh, I don't know if that's true.
And everybody loves Waterworld.
I was going to say at least
no,
it's an
everybody.
IP that people care about.
No, well, that's you're trying to dig at the heart of my argument, which is that nobody cares about this IP, so they can do whatever they want with it.
Yeah, that's fair.
But they're not doing they're not doing anything different. They're doing the same show over and over.
Well, not if
With
you
ex-
think about
with
the witty
explosion.
repartee of Deacon.
It's true. It's true.
Changes every time.
Yep.
Okay, Eric.
Every
tell
time a
me about-
Kardashian does something embarrassing, that's a new joke.
That's right. It's a whole
That's
new
what
show.
I love to see in Waterworld. I love
That's
to
like
see
the
the
genie.
Deacon insulting
It's
Kardashians.
like the genie from Aladdin. That was everybody's favorite part.
Okay.
Okay, Eric, the show.
Initial sequence. Indy drops in on a rope with some rocks falling down. The whole thing starts as basically a cold open. He pops into this abandoned temple. He lights a torch. He dodges a bunch of floor spears, triggered by himself. So, he steps on the plate. The thing pops up. He knows where he's going.
That's interesting.
Let's be honest. It's kind of a slowly ascending. It's not really a pop up because that
pop up.
No, they pop up fast,
they
man.
pop up.
Yeah, come on.
Okay,
Yeah,
maybe
I mean-
I saw it on an off day. That's fine.
Okay,
Were you
so
watching it in half speed? Yeah.
That's
Side-
what it was.
Sidebar question, Eric. Is the audience obliged to applaud every time he comes down on the rope?
I don't know
Do you
if
think
they're
there are
obliged
plants
to.
that-
There's no one on the stage going, "All right, everybody, here comes Indiana Jones." All right, yeah, give him a round of applause.
Have you ever seen the show where they didn't applaud?
No.
Yeah, I hadn't either. Anyway,
It's awesome.
It
It's
is.
Indiana Jones. He's in front of you.
Amen.
He drops
Coming
down
down.
on a big rope,
As if from nowhere.
as if from nowhere.
the original movie.
Okay, so I did not know. I'm glad you researched that, Eric. I did not realize that the actor triggers the stunt reaction at the.
Well,
oh,
and that's
cool.
That's part of how it goes. And yeah, this is one of the stunts where they don't actually explain that to you, where he's stepping on pressure plates and then the spear shoots up.
Mm.
So it's part of this elaborate. I mean, you can tell it's an elaborately choreographed thing, but
Right.
he's the one who controls it. So
That's
if
cool.
he doesn't step on it, it's not like he's going to make a misstep and like get a spear through the groin.
Yeah, especially because it's probably made of rubber.
Right. But still.
So as they
safer.
would say on the James Bondage podcast, he's the one with the safe word.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
That's good.
He lights a torch. He runs past a bunch of spears. He runs past some idols. There's a fun gag where he's trying to like activate one of the spears to come down, and it doesn't. So he starts to step through, and then the spear comes down. So he has to like run past a bunch of them. He's not Grandpa from the Dollywood Reporter. He's in his 50s. We're almost there, Dan. We're almost the same age as this man.
They don't know. Based on context clues, they all think I'm like 24 years old.
That's fair.
Okay. He recreates the golden idol scene from Raiders of the Lost Ark, where he's doing the whole like how much does this weigh? How much sand is in the bag?
Yeah.
It does the whole thing. Then the boulder comes rolling down at him, and he's running away from the boulder and dodges it in multiple. Dan, can I mute him? I'm in charge of this
That's a good
podcast.
question. How much control do you have?
You can if you want.
Okay. If I need to, I can mute him for the rest of the show.
It's like Eric when we watch the Great Moments of Mr. Lincoln, and Dan does all the hydraulic sounds. The whole speech, the whole time.
The whole time. just loud enough.
When he makes his, well, you both make the joke.
Yeah, the joke. We love the joke. All right. Anyway, keep going.
Anyway, the boulder rolls down the hill, and he's got multiple places to jump out of the way, and it looks like he's crushed, and he's done. And then you hear,
And cut.
That was not a point for Waterworld, by the way.
it was not a point, but yeah,
I'm okay.
damn it. But yes, this is when the stunt director comes out, and Indy stands up and says, "Hey, look, I'm fine. I'm a stunt coordinator, or I'm a stunt actor." And they talk about what a stunt actor is, and they explain the whole thing. And you see them resetting the.
Don't forget the joke, Eric.
You say the joke while I'm watching Dan pretending to do something on camera that our podcast listeners can't see.
The stunt actor is explaining how dangerous some of these stunts are and how heavy this giant boulder is as like a young lady is pushing it with one hand back up the hill.
But to be fair, it's usually two people pushing it back uphill because it is 12 feet in diameter and it weighs 400 pounds.
Oh, it's heavy.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy. But you can roll it back uphill. But yeah, you're right. That is the joke. They reset it, so the director's like, reset it, and they're just pushing it back up.
Oh, I get it. It's like you expect it to be one thing.
Subverting expectations.
Okay, I got it. Took me a while.
Okay. I'm glad you got there. Thank you. So while they're talking about the movie making magic, they're rolling in cameras on dollies and they're showing off the people that aren't actually doing any actual movie magic. They're still doing this to this day. They're still doing it. It's great. David Sally said when I watched the show with him, so there's another set back there? Yes, there's another set. There are two sets back there, David Sally. The next set up is the Cairo set. So now you're setting up this whole sequence where in the movie, Marion and Indy are running around the city and fighting a bunch of folks, and things happen. So that pretty much happens. So while they're setting up this other scene, in the original show, they'd kind of introduce the extras who were members of the audience that had been taken backstage after the pre-show and had been dressed up in period garb, and were told to basically like stay over here away from anything interesting and run around and react to stuff. Now they just have acrobats. So they set out a bunch of mats and they show this is how we do some of this stuff. So they're doing flips and they're doing pratfalls and they're doing punches. And they're demonstrating how this stuff actually works in a movie.
If you've ever been to like an open house at a karate studio, then you've seen what they're doing.
Perhaps. Yes. Well, anyway, cars roll into the scene. They've got trucks that pull in to, just setting up more of the stuff. The next scene is a fun series of stuff from the movie where Indy, shoots the guy with the swords and all that stuff. There's climbing on top of buildings and the ladder falls down, all of that stuff. And then you reset for the airplane set. So while the scene moves, again, two giant set pieces separate and move apart, and you've got this whole backstage area where you've got a giant plane and you've got all these other trucks that pull in.
It's a plane. We both have planes. Let's be fair.
Okay, well, yours doesn't spin around in circles and kill a guy. Does yours? I don't know.
I feel like I'm beating down your spirit, Eric. I don't mean to. I'm just trying to be.
I'm so depressed, Dan. I just feel I'm no longer confident in this. No, I love this show. So the airplane sequence no longer has swastikas on the plane. Yeah, they change it to a Balkenkreuz, a much less politically charged cross.
Hashtag woke.
Yeah, right. Sometimes during some periods, you've all seen the movie. You know what happens. The big German guy fights Indy and he gets chopped up by the blades. In the original show, he would be fighting Indy and then the plane would come near him and he'd drop into a trapdoor. And there would be a big puff of,
So wait, they changed it from straight up just swastika Nazi stuff to like, teehee, this is still Nazi stuff, but you don't know that it is.
Yes, they removed the swastikas and from people's uniforms.
Got it.
Because, some people might be cheering for the wrong side.
Okay.
I'm going to say it's not a bad move.
Yeah, I don't mind removing swastikas from the thing.
Yeah, not a bad move.
I don't mind either. I'm just saying, the same kind of. It's like a pigeon and a dove situation from a anti-fascist point of view. I'm not saying that to dig. I'm just saying they could have just not. I'm not offended. I'm just trying to win an argument.
Okay. I don't. Jimmy, you look like you're about to say something about the swastikas.
I'm by no means saying that they shouldn't have gotten rid of them.
Let's not display swastikas so many.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not upset about the change. It's unnecessary, but also it's unnecessary in all the senses of the word.
I'm just saying, if you're in the audience and you're looking for swastikas because you want to see the swastikas and you see the Iron Cross, you're gonna catch the dog whistle that they're blowing. That's it. Okay. It is better. Anyway, just
all right.
Anyway,
so I'm mainly saying if you go out in the world wearing an Iron Cross, we all see you.
That's fair. So Eric, the guy originally went through the trapdoor. What happens now?
There have been times where he still goes through the trapdoor. There are also times where he just gets shot by Marion. And I think they're trying to remove more guns lately. So he's been back to getting hit by the plane and dropping through the trapdoor. So it's changed a few times over the years. Yeah, but still the main point of the scene after all that's done, you still have the fire that's slowly advancing toward the plane, just like in the movie. And then there are giant explosions and Indy, gets Marion out of the plane and they jump off and they run away. And that's pretty much the end of the show. That's the main set piece at the end. Everything blows up. You've seen 3 major set pieces. You've seen 3 major scenes from the movie. You've seen a bunch of stunt people doing stuff. It's a lot of fun. And there we go.
Yeah. Okay. I want to hear Dan's argument.
Yeah.
And I'll just sort of reserve my judgment other than to say, no, I want to hear Dan's argument.
Okay.
Before I award points.
the show. A perfect summary of seaplane and flame. The plot? Smokers invade. Mariner defends. Helen climbs something. Then the seaplane comes. It's coming. Incoming seaplane. The plane. Then it happens. Boom. Real plane. Real fire. Real screams every time. It's the single most dramatic entrance of any theme park. Indy's biggest moment, a man explains how another man rolls under a truck. Also, the Deacon, our villain, is the best character in any stunt show. He breaks the fourth wall. He mocks the audience. He makes weirdly topical references, too topical. He's what happens when a theme park performer is given a mic, no script, and zero executive oversight. It's perfect. Every Deacon is different. Every show is different. Indy is the same show every time since Bush Sr. was president. And there's a ton of explosions constantly. Just fire, explosions, splash, splash. We know why you're here. We don't need to bore you with the plot. But if you want to know the plot, here we go.
I do. Yeah.
Helen returns to the atoll with news of finding dry land, pursued by the smokers. As she warns the atollers, the smokers attack by sea and air, breaking into the fortress, despite efforts to defend with water cannons, which is weird. Most atollers are killed.
Hoses.
And Helen narrowly escapes a collapsing tower. The Deacon arrives, takes Helen hostage, and demands the location of dry land, executing an atoller when she refuses. Just as things seem lost, the Mariner emerges, sparking a massive brawl. The Deacon accidentally causes a fuel leak during the chaos. After seemingly dying, the Mariner resurfaces, rescues Helen, and confronts the Deacon. In the struggle, the Deacon shoots down his own seaplane, crashes into the atoll, and is ultimately set on fire by Helen. The person is actually set on fire safely. As the leaking fuel ignites, Helen and the Mariner escape just before a massive explosion destroys the entire atoll, not just a damn airplane.
Can we talk about accidents during our shows?
I frequently
Later.
have accidents when I'm excited watching a stunt show. How about you, Jimmy?
Yes, always. I just had one just now. But before we get to
I'm
that,
peeing right now.
Eric is.
We need to do a Depends episode, I'm telling you.
Eric, do we have any people on fire in Indiana Jones?
No, there are no people on fire. There are people falling from heights, and
That's right.
That's about it. One gets chopped up by an airplane and falls into a trapdoor.
A couple of comments about it's different every time. I appreciate the fact that every actor's different, just like there's different indies playing Indy, whatever. I appreciate the topical humor of sorts, but I think it might take me out of what I'm trying to experience, or is it?
That's the thing. You're not experiencing anything other than explosions and splashes.
Yeah,
they're not trying to do this is a stunt show.
Yeah,
we're
like
filming this.
They have a plot that's very loose, but it's just how to get from one explosion to the other, because they all know nobody cares about this AI. They don't have to be like, hey, so this person once met Harrison Ford on an airplane. And this is the very airplane right here.
Okay, so I have to say that the plane here in the plane, and then the plane flies over the stadium into the water.
Yes,
is an incredible stunt. I will award a point for the plane stunt in Waterworld.
Huh.
And cut.
Who gets a point?
Right.
You haven't given
That's
any
a
point. You've given very few points. I shouldn't say
I've given
none
only
points.
2, and both of them are for Waterworld so far.
Yeah.
I'm just formulating my position over time.
Okay.
Because nothing's really stood out other than one has a pre-show, the other doesn't. And
one used to have a pre-show. That doesn't count.
The plane stunt is more impressive in Waterworld than is in Indy.
I think in fairness, the Indy show has moments that are cool and interesting.
Yeah.
Possibly those single moments are more cool and interesting individually.
In fact, I want to go backwards, and I'm sorry, I was sort of more riveted by the explanation of the show, Eric. I think I want to award 1 point for the stunt actor triggering all the stunts in the beginning. I like that a lot. Now, does it? I mean, I'm sure that there's all kinds of stuff in Waterworld where the actors have to trigger stuff to avoid danger. Or
but they're not telling you how they do it because you just would want to see the stuff.
It's just a different show.
Yeah.
A different type of show. Okay, so
You're not
that's the
sitting
show.
right up next. How close are you to the action in Waterworld?
That's a good point. You are a little further away.
Further away than what? Indy?
Well, I mean, there are
Indy's-
people in Indy. If you're in the front rows, you are like there.
So the front row, you're basically there as well. I mean, they
Okay,
have
just
splash
right on
zones
the water.
for a reason. Well, not right on. There's a little walkway that they use for actors and for exiting and entering. But like,
So
it's
it
not,
sucks. Okay.
It's not like it's far away. I mean, it's a water tank. They're not gonna like say, hey, here's your flippers. Good luck.
Here's the Free Willy seats.
Yeah, I mean, it's as close as you can get, considering that it's a water show. There are built-in constraints, but there are also moments in the show where the actors are like above you, or they're going through the audience. Like, it's you're not entirely. I guess what I'm trying to say is that any separateness is basically because it just has to be there. But yeah, there's like little fight scenes that take place over the audience, and in terms of like general, I mean, you're close enough that if a water ski turns in the water, the front like 5 rows get wet.
Yeah, I will not award points for Indy because of the fact that you won't get wet. Even though I personally would say Indy wins because you don't get wet.
But you don't get wet if you're sitting like 8
because you
rows
have a choice.
back. Yeah,
right, you have a choice. That's why I'm not docking it. Do you think that Waterworld has 2 shows per day because they wouldn't be able to fill the show if they did it 5 times a day?
Or is it like an operational
budgetary
issue?
thing?
I suspect it's a budgetary thing. I think you have to reset the seaplane. That's not a small feat.
How do they do that?
You have to, probably make sure that the deacon isn't actually injured. I'm sure that's a process.
How long is that show?
Great question.
Hold on. It's
Indy's close to 30 minutes.
20 minutes.
It's like 28 for Indy.
Yeah, but how much of that is actually like action?
That's fair.
Even during the talking portions, when they're resetting the stage, they've got the stunt actors out and they're showing what it's like to do a pratfall, what it's like to take a fake punch. And they've got the dude who like takes the punch and flips backward.
Right.
Like he does that stiff, like fall backward, then flip over, which is a fun thing to see.
Yeah.
But that's kind of clearly filler, though. I mean,
it is filler.
Yeah, but
it's
you're
also
resetting a stage.
The point of that show is to show this is how movies are made, and they're showing you how movies are made.
True.
While the sets are changing, and these are massive sets. These are
enormous,
incredible,
right. Well,
massive sets.
And to be honest, I get what you're saying, but at the same time, when they tell me that so and so was the real, stunt actor for the original Obi-Wan Kenobi or something, I'm like, yeah, really? Can I really trust that this is how movies are made anyway?
Well, I mean, I see your point. But anyway, it's impressive to see how it's all done and the sets that move and what it's.
Do you have stunt people in your show, or do you have comedians?
Stunt people. I have stunt people, and one of them is funny.
Stunt comedians.
There are stunt people, and one of them just happens to be funny, which I think is a better skill, to be able to say like, yeah, I can do this, I can do that, I can fall from a building on fire, and I can also hold the attention of nearly 3,000 people with my hilarious pop culture humor.
I don't think 2,500 is near 3,000 people.
I'm rounding up.
All right.
Okay.
Well, 10,000 are at Indy.
Yeah. So I'm going to do this now. I've been making notes. I'm going to say, because Indiana Jones can be seen by up to 10,000 people a day, more people can experience that show. Therefore, Indiana Jones gets a point. The 28 minutes versus the 20 minutes. Now, to Dan's point, 20 minutes of kind of nonstop stuff. There's no set set redressing, whatever.
It's like from minute one, it's splash, splash, explode,
go, blow up. Yeah, I get it. The 28 minutes, it does feel long.
It does.
There are, I mean, even the filler, sure, it may be interesting the first time you see it, but the rewatchability of Waterworld, I think, outweighs the rewatchability of Indy. Point for Waterworld.
And cut.
So you're saying you could rewatch because it's nonstop as opposed
to... It's nonstop.
to...
There's no break. It's rewatchable because some of the jokes are topical and they change.
Speaking of, wow, a truck rolled across the stage, groundbreaking stuff. I haven't felt that level of excitement since I watched the Epcot fountain refurbishment live stream for 6 hours.
Indiana Jones as a franchise, as much as whatever you say, Dan, it is still very relevant. They made 5 of them. How many Waterworlds did they make? We don't know because nobody saw.
No. You are actually missing my point. You're inverting my actual point, which is that no one cares about the Waterworld IP, which is why this can just do whatever it wants, which is why it's good.
You're making my point for me, which is nobody cares about Waterworld. A lot of people care about Indiana Jones. It is way more relevant than is Waterworld.
Okay, let me do this another way. Do more people care about the Indiana Jones stunt show than they do about the Indiana Jones IP?
I don't know if that...
I don't think they're mutually exclusive. But I would say that more people care about the Indiana Jones IP. Therefore, they're going to go to see the Stunt Spectacular.
So this thing fills seats 5 times a day.
So does this, though. What I'm trying to say is that this took an IP that no one cares about and sucks and turned it into a show that is the centerpiece of some people's days.
I would give points for that because that's why does this stunt show still exist?
Well, that's fair.
But why does Indy still exist in the same?
Because it has to, because it would be, the internet would light on fire if they got rid of anything Indiana Jones.
But why wouldn't they switch it up and have Mutt Williams swinging on a vine with a bunch of monkeys at this point?
I think you know the answer to that question. That was silly.
Yeah, because no one wants to see that crap.
That's right. So, okay. All right. Well, I hear you both. And it is an interesting reframing in that this show is still incredibly popular despite the fact that nobody even knows what it is.
I'm saying it as a strength for the show, not for the IP.
I get it. So, however, Waterworld being the centerpiece of some people's day in a park that today, Sunday, the 27th of April, closes at 6 p.m.
But that's not... That says nothing about the show itself.
Have we talked about
making
land
it the
impact
centerpiece in a park that doesn't have a lot going on? You've got the tour, you got the Waterworld, and it's not a very big park. And
then that just, sorry to turn into Jeremy here, but that also just kind of burns a hole into the fact that 10,000 people versus 5,000 people, because there are just more people, there's more space.
Well, right. That's why I asked the question before. Is it about capacity or is it about cost? Because if it was just they wouldn't be able to fill the theater 5 times a day, that's why they only do it twice.
That could be it. I mean, it is a smaller theme park. So
do either of these meet the expectations of the design of this park currently?
I don't think either one does. No.
What do you mean by that, Eric?
Well, I'm thinking like in the original iteration of Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular, it was we're making the movies. So we've got dudes who still roll out on
same
dollies.
As Universal, where they actually literally make movies still.
Yeah, but Universal doesn't do that conceit in their
they're
anything outside of the tram.
There.
Well, but the whole original thing about that park, Dan, was in fact, this is a movie studio, come see. And then they started adding rides like, hey, you can be in Jaws. You can be in whatever the stuff. So I guess
now
to
instead
that point,
of Jaws, you've got this Stunt Spectacular, which seems cool.
They still
Yeah.
have Jaws on the tram, though.
They do. That's right. So, but what I'm getting at is like that Universal was about making movies. This is not about making movies. This is about a movie that nobody saw.
But neither is E.T., and neither is The Mummy, and neither is the Simpsons ride that I guess no longer exists.
Well,
Neither is
so,
Transformers.
yes, you're making my point.
So in some way, I think it fits the current iteration of the park better than Indy
But
fits.
the question Eric posed was the original intent. And my answer is neither of these things meet the original intent of the theme
It's
park.
not the best question I could have asked.
Well,
because-
but original intent when like Universal
when the theme park
Studios
was
first
made.
I don't think that's even a relevant question.
Well,
It's
you're probably right.
These have
And
been,
I'm saying-
but both of these have been around for decades. So it's
Right.
kind of
Well-
an interesting question.
I mean, I guess, but it's sort of like saying, should this movie still get an Oscar if it's a talkie? You know, like
Okay, so let's just stricken from the record. Okay, if Waterworld shut down tomorrow,
mhm,
never to be seen again,
yes.
would Universal Studios still be a destination that people would want to go to? Same question for Hollywood Studios. If Indy shut down tomorrow, would less people go?
I don't have the research handy, but according to Chris Provost, not on April 1st, he was talking about how, and listener, you can look for the video.
I'm sorry, what?
Huh?
Look for the what?
The video. The
what?
video. The video.
Oh, thank you.
Oh,
Got
okay.
He was talking about how, Disneyland, each park has ways of measuring like a guest happiness. And
Yep.
they found at Universal Studios, it was if they do 3 things, I don't remember the third one, but it was,
This tram tour, the water.
you saw the
World.
video too. Yeah. Okay. It was, I
saw the video.
the video. Sorry. I think it was if they found, statistically speaking, that if a guest goes on the tram tour, I think it's Jurassic Park. I'm not sure, but I think it's Jurassic Park. And they see the Waterworld stunt show, they generally leave happy. So I can't necessarily answer your question like the way it was asked, but I can tell you that they use it as their own internal like marketing strategy.
Yeah, I think that also might be because there's just not as much stuff to do there.
Yeah,
But it's
but
an
the
interesting
same-
point.
The same applies to Hollywood Studios, where there's not as much to do. And a lot of people have said over the years it's a half-day park. But if you include something like seeing this stunt show, I haven't looked into the data here now that we're getting down to brass tacks. It's seeing that it's consistently full just says to me that there are people who are saying, I want to stick around here longer. I want to do more stuff. Land Impact, you could completely ignore this. And I know people did for many years. There was a long chunk of time where this theater was not full. These days, people are like, I want to stay here more. I want to stay here
because
longer.
the lines are too long. And I mean, I
That's
guess
fair.
what
no,
I'm
I
trying
don't know if that's it.
no, what I'm trying to get to indirectly is that I don't think that this point, I think that this is going to end up just being a blurry point where there's no one-to-one
Yeah,
that
I
makes
think
any
you're right.
sense.
What I
Yeah.
was going to say was, I think, and maybe it's my own bias, and maybe it's my own experience with the theme parks, but we go to Indiana Jones because everything is such a long line and there's no more lightning lanes. We
That's
could just
been
do
my
Indy.
experience as well. Yeah.
We could do Indy because that's a thing.
Well,
And
maybe
it sounds
that
like
gets
what
you later
Dan
in
is
the
saying
day,
is
yeah.
we have to do Waterworld.
Yeah. Indy, in my experience and my understanding of other people's experiences, has been something along the lines of like, I mean, yeah, we haven't done that yet. Let's do that.
And yet,
It's shady. You can sit down.
When I was there with David last year, it was his first time to the parks, and I'm like, you know what? This is your first time here. We've got to do the stunt show.
You got to do it.
And
Yeah,
he's like,
absolutely.
well,
It's your
I've
first
seen
time.
stunt shows.
But I
I'm
mean,
like,
that
yeah,
you're kind
this-
of making my own argument in a different way, though. It's like, well, oh, you've never been here? Well, in that case, you have to see this.
But this is the East. This is the East Coast. This is Walt Disney World. It's not a I go here 7 times a year sort of place. It's not like, oh, I live in LA, let's drive up to the park and let's go see what we got to see Waterworld today.
So that's a Disney World that's a Disney World as a once in a lifetime or once every few years destination versus Universal, which is a locals theme park.
Pretty much.
Well,
it's another one of those sorts of arguments, but I
so
honestly,
if it is
I don't know how to compare those two.
So let me jump on that. If it is just a locals park, then why is the amphitheater always full?
And not just a locals park, but more of a locals park than is Universal,
right. Well, it still stands.
Hollywood Studios, yeah.
Because you look at some of the things and you've heard reasons why like Country Bears closed because nobody wants to see a show 7 times a year. They want to ride a ride 20 times a year, but they don't want to go to see
just
Country Bears at Disneyland.
They don't want to ride Winnie the Pooh.
That's one of those kind of excuses why Country Bears was torn down. Maybe that's a reason why people really like the enduring qualities of Waterworld, because it draws the attention more than it kind of shucks the traditional argument that locals don't see shows.
Because it's awesome. Stuff blows up, you get wet.
Maybe.
That's it.
Okay, I do
arguing against myself right now.
I do want to officially award a point to Indy for the relevance of the IP. And I know your argument, Dan, I get it. Okay, so I'd like to finish up, but before we do, I would like to hear do you want to talk about what's that?
Do you want to hear more Deacon jokes? Is that what you're about to say?
Not yet.
Okay.
Yes,
Dan has a closing statement music thing.
But
are there words in that?
That was supposed to be a surprise.
Oh.
Well, I don't know when to play it, okay, man?
Okay, so Eric,
check your email.
You'll get it when you hear it. You'll get it when you hear it.
Let's talk about land impact really quick.
Okay,
so Eric,
land
you said it
impact.
yourself. It's not on the main thoroughfare. You have to seek Indy out. That's why there's a giant billboard.
You can
But
see
talk
the
about the
giant
land
billboard. You can see the plants around it.
And you can definitely hear it.
Oh yeah, you could definitely hear it when it's going on. It's one of those things where if you're in that area, and you're probably walking through that area because it's the pathway to Star Tours, it's the pathway to Galaxy's Edge. So if you're going
But
at
it's
the right
kind of
time,
not though. It's not.
it is a little ways out of the way. Yeah, like who walks by?
You have to walk by Malma Melrose.
50s
I mean, what's that? Yeah, the 50s prime time. It's
yeah.
a side street for sure. It's not the main thoroughfare.
Yeah, but you can see the giant billboard and you go, huh, what's over there? Because it kind of hides itself unless it's active and things are blowing up.
So as far as impact to the land goes, what is the land it's in?
And that was
it's Hollywood Studios. There's no land. It's so
Echo
weird.
Lake?
Like,
but I do want to point out that was also a design choice. That was a lazy design choice on their part.
I don't know if it was lazy. I mean, at this point, it's kind of nice to have a shady place to go to that has plants. Like the plants are big now, and you can still see the billboard, and you're kind of like, oh, what is that?
So, all right. So land impact doesn't really sound like there is one.
It's not a huge land impact. No,
Okay.
it hides.
Dan, how about Waterworld?
On the West Coast, Waterworld carved out its own cult following. People schedule their entire day around it.
Okay.
It's not
Sure,
filler.
I'm
It's
sure
a
that's
headline
true.
Act.
I'm sure that's
the stadium
true.
is
Indy.
look. If you guys want Indy to win, let's just do that.
That's not what at all what's happening.
We're just going to make fun of you. Just continue
But,
talking.
the thing is, you were talking about a cult following, but you have the same at Indy. You know that there
Is
are
it
cult
really?
followings.
Okay,
there must be. There is a fan club. There are multiple fan clubs for
There's
that.
a fan
Whatever that
club
Yahoo
for everything.
Exactly. That's my point. Thank you. Continue.
Okay. You know what? Indy wins.
Supreme.
No. In fact, they're tied.
Don't give up. Now I have to blank out another swear. My goodness, what a sweary show.
Indy wins.
No, that was not at all where I was going with it. You were making an argument that has nothing to do with land impact.
I understand that.
So tell about the land impact.
I don't want to. Indy wins.
Well, as a matter of fact, I was going to say Waterworld wins.
It sure sounds like Jimmy was leaning toward Waterworld.
I wasn't originally, but that's where I was going.
It seems like sometimes what is happening in this is that because sometimes I am funny, the points that I'm actually trying to make are being ignored.
I'm sorry you feel that way, because I'm not
Okay.
at all intending that.
Okay. The stadium you can see it. You can see it from a lot of places. Stadium's visible from parts of Universal Studios Hollywood. Funny things that I added, but I don't care anymore.
Okay.
Can you see? I don't know Universal Hollywood. Can you see it from like the highway? Like, how is it laid out? Is it?
I honestly don't know. I haven't been to Universal Studios in
Jimmy was there
over a decade.
Like
I was
last
there a
year
year or so ago. We didn't see Waterworld. I don't remember why.
You were focused on the Nintendo stuff, I think.
Yeah, that was the main focus. But but I have seen the show.
How big is
times.
that set? Like that lake? Like it's got to be enormous.
It's 400,000 gallons.
It's very large.
It's kind of what I don't know. I mean, the Indy thing is huge, but it's all hidden.
Okay, it's 40,000 square feet and uses 1.4 million gallons of recycled water.
Yeah.
So it's currently tied.
So
it doesn't.
I guess what I was trying to get to was that yes, Indy, the exterior, the land impact is that it's a boxy cage, and I feel like sort of the argument for that is that they couldn't help it, but they could. It was a choice. It was a design choice, and it's been a design choice that's been left undone for like 30 years.
And I didn't actually award it any points for that.
And
oh God.
in this time when we are revisiting what a theme park can be, a la Epic Universe, a la Fredo, a la Kazam, a la Love You Long Time. I think that it's important that we hold the theme park creators and the theme park designers, the creatives is what I'll call them, accountable to the lazy design choices or lack of choices that they make. Is Waterworld a meaningful show? Is it a good IP? Is it a popular IP? I say, no, it's not. But you know what it is? It's a place. It's a place that exists. Not just in a theme park, but in all of us. In each one of us that wants to see a man, a live man who told us so many jokes, set on fire and blown up.
We absolutely need to play that.
That was well timed.
At the end of every show.
I agree.
It needs to be for every closing argument, because it doesn't matter what you say. And you didn't say a lot.
No, I said nothing.
But it was so much more impactful because you did.
And I'm sorry I threw a little tantrum. It's frustrating sometimes. And I'm going to be just kind of too honest here. Having some of the communication problems that I do have when it's like, no, I'm trying to say this. And it feels sometimes, and I'm not saying that you were doing this. It does sometimes feel like when I'm trying to say something and it doesn't land. And then what I get back is, oh, what I heard is the actual opposite of what you just said. It's very frustrating.
You definitely got triggered.
Yeah, I did.
You've known me long enough to know that I would never do that intentionally.
Okay, I know.
And I feel like I did hear you, but clearly I didn't. However, I did not go into this thinking that Indy. I would think that Indy's just a better show all around. It's, Epic Stunt Spectacular. There's my bias going in, Disney versus Universal. I had taken notes, talked about relevance, talked about a behind the scenes show versus just a mini version of a movie that nobody saw. More people can see Indy, blah, 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 all the things, right? At this point, the score is tied, and I'm kind of in my head, Dan, I was trying to figure out how to justify Indy winning because I couldn't justify it anymore.
Uh-huh.
Can I give you my final argument?
I thought you just did.
Oh, no. I was
You got to
just
play the music.
I was
again.
just talking. Okay, here we go.
It was an impassioned plea
Yes.
more than an argument.
Okay. All right, here we go. Waterworld, the stunt show, shouldn't exist, but it does, because it's a banger. It reinvented a cinematic failure and turned it into an event. Speaking of events, I'm going to be in Poughkeepsie. I don't know where that is, but you can see my tight 20-minute set I've been working on. I have some really good jokes about airplane food and how weird it is. Also, it reinvented a cinematic failure and turned it into an event. I think I already read that one. I'm not sure. The crowd energy is real. The stunts are massive. The show is alive, dangerous, funny, ever-changing. You know what else is funny? When I talk about traffic. Okay, Indiana Jones is a museum piece. You don't watch it, you visit it. One gives you a plane crash. The other gives you exposition. One is soaking wet and loving it. The other is Indiana Jones, the lack of urgency. Waterworld doesn't ask for your approval. It hits you in the face with a fireball and dares you not to love it.
As a theme park goer, back to the old standby. If these two shows were sitting next to each other, which would I go see?
Assuming they have the same number of shows.
Yeah, that's fair. But the why there's not as many shows is still up for debate.
I think there's so many possibilities. We're not equipped.
We don't want to speculate.
Yeah.
So let's just say it's only one per day for each show. I would choose the one that's 20 minutes and kind of nonstop than over the one that is longer, but has some dead spots.
I'm not dead yet.
So as much as it's difficult for me to say.
So I don't get any counter.
Oh, you get a closing argument. Oh, sorry.
Argument here.
But you have to see it's the same music. It's only
No,
fair.
oh, okay.
That's it.
Okay. Well, it takes a while to get going, doesn't it?
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah. You know,
There you go.
it's not all that often that an elderly gentleman can rappel down onto a stage and entertain 2,000 people 5 times a day.
You're killing me, buddy.
He didn't interrupt your speech.
Sorry.
That's the kind of stunt show I enjoy. One where he gets to take a break and tell you what he's going to do next. You know what? In the next scene, I'm going to pretend to punch a guy, and then I'll fall onto a piece of styrofoam. It'll be great. Just wait and see. You know, it wasn't all that long ago that I was doing the same thing, because I've been doing it for 30 years. I'm making this up.
You really petered out there, Eric.
Yeah, I don't know.
Keep going. Okay. Now,
we're
here's the that's the condom. Oh, you missed the condom.
Oh no! I should have stayed on there. Just let it roll.
You
for
finished
like
right
half a
before
minute.
America.
The
comes in.
trick, I gotta tell you, the trick is turn the smart part of your brain off.
Okay. This is the case of the supreme stunt spectacular. They both have their own merits. I personally think that Waterworld is more of a spectacle.
Yeah, I can
think
agree
the
with
plane
that.
crash kind of tips it over. People on fire. There's, it's a big water
There are
tank.
more
and
explosions. It's not people pretending to punch each other and fall off a building.
It is a better stunt show spectacular, even though it's not called that.
It should be.
I will add, and this is kind of a weird thing that I'm discovering, is that Waterworld is super entertaining and awesome. I dare say awesome in the most like middle schooler kind of
The
way.
most
It's like,
radical way.
awesome. Yeah. It's like it's stupid, but like that's what's fun about it. And it's the the ironic approach to the show that makes it so good. And then on the other hand, it's almost like the only way to fully enjoy Indiana Jones after seeing it like more than 2 times is to approach it with that sense of irony of like, they're doing that thing again. That's hilarious.
It's still happening.
I think I'm landing on your point, Dan, is that Waterworld is still a popular stunt spectacular, despite the fact that nobody cares about that IP.
Mm-hmm.
Most people don't even know what it is.
I would say
and
because
it's still there. Whereas Indiana Jones is a popular IP, which is why it's still there.
I'm not sure why it's become so popular again. I love that it's so popular again because I don't want to see it go away because I love it. But I think we're now in nostalgia territory.
Yeah. I do, honestly, this isn't just trying to win the argument territory. I do think it's because of Lightning Lane. I think it's because...
I think you're right. Yeah. I think that's 100% right.
It's another thing that you can reserve.
Yeah. Okay. Well, as much as it pains me to say, Waterworld is the supreme studio park stunt show spectacular.
And cut.
Can't believe Universal won on a Disney podcast. And you know what? I can't even believe the guy who gets mad at us for even saying the word Universal was arguing for this thing to win.
I don't know. I just know good stuff. What can I say?
Hey, good stuff's good stuff. Well, thank you both. Thank you, Dan and Eric, for all your time and research and your efforts in making this argument for the greater good of humanity.
While you do this next part, I'm going to share some of the punch-up Deacon jokes, like in between. So,
okay,
just keep going.
We have. Thank you for listening. First of all, we have other shows on this network like Ears Up and Puny Pod and the Bantha Milk podcast. I'm sure they're talking about Andor. Watch the first 3 episodes of Andor season 2.
They haven't put that episode out yet, but I know they're working on it.
The only thing getting blown up over there is the hope of anyone under 30 understanding what they're watching.
We also have Scraping the Vault. We are coming to the end of the straight-to-video Disney sequels with the entering the Tinkerverse. Listener, send us a note if you want us to continue Scraping the Vault, or if you'd like us to do a mass blowout final spectacular where we blow each other up and get each other wet and do a Tinkerverse massive episode.
That show's got the same heat as a brick wall in Galaxy's Edge at 3 p.m. and twice the crowd confusion.
Are there any other shows on the network? Oh, yeah. No, they're not. Listen to Bonus
one of
Planning,
them.
though. Listen to The Hub Crawl.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to Dan Hates the Beatles.
Sure, why not? It's not a stunt show. It's a PowerPoint given by a guy whose favorite Disney resort is the Swan and Dolphin.
Concierge is our sponsor, 856 Our Ears. They will book your entire vacation for you, including your reservations, dining, etc., etc. I just booked for Carrie, who is my very first client with Concierge. I booked with her again, and she booked a hotel, Disneyland Hotel, and tickets separately because I just wanted one day. So Concierge will not get paid the commission on that, but still doing it, still helping her out. And because it's not a vacation package, but it's okay. She will get the same service either way, whether you do a package or just a hotel room. And I'm still going to book all of her dining for her and book her Oogie Boogie Bash tickets because that's what Concierge does.
Honestly, Indy's just one man's dream with better liability insurance.
That's it, everybody. Thank you for listening. Be good to each other. Until next time, court is adjourned.
It's the only show in the park where the audience makes more noise during the tram ride out. Fresh baked.
I was getting to a point where I'm like, Jimmy, don't pick Indy. Please don't pick Indy, please.
Yeah, I at first I was like, oh, Dan doesn't actually want this doing. He doesn't actually care.
Oh.
And
But when it comes to stunt spectacular, like a plane flying in out of nowhere and things blowing up, Indy doesn't have that many things blowing up. It's mostly stunts.
So what I was
which is
sensing
okay.
was the shift from like, well, I can't give up on this. We actually have to keep trying to make an argument.
For what?
When the vibe that I got where I was just like, okay, look, if you want it to win, just fucking let it win.
Yeah.
I think that was that switchover moment for both of you where you were just like, well, we still have to kind of make an argument for Indy, so let's try.
I see your point.
You see what I'm saying?
That was it. That was 100% that switch, but it wasn't to try to make it win, but to try to make it not lose so hard.
I understand that now.
Yeah. I enjoyed your jokes about it being geriatric because it kind of is.
Yeah,
It's a Disney stunt show. It's not the same as a Universal
I mean, that
stunt
right there
show.
says it.
That's a good point. Yeah,
That's it. They've
Well
been doing
said.
the same thing for 30 years.
Yeah.
It's like Electronica or whatever that was versus Mad Tea Party.
Yeah.
It's like one is an outside vendor at doing exactly what they do, which is awesome. The other is Disney going like, hey, let's do cool.
Yeah, we don't have to pay somebody. We can do it ourselves.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool, dudes.
Yeah.